Uganda might be thrown out of the African Cup of Nations 2027. That is the fear by most people out there that are watching this channel, and most people out there that think Uganda will not be ready for 2027. Here are a few of the things that I will be explaining, and a few things that you need to understand why I think we will be ready, and why I'm very confident of the people that are working, especially on the contracts that were awarded, to see that this tournament is a success. And of course, if you're out there and you're watching this interesting page, all you need to just go subscribe, share, as well as recommend to someone, because we are here to give you the latest coming in from the world of sports. And of course, the program today is basically going to be looking at all those issues, especially that have been raised in the comment section. It's been long since I ever came out and responded to a few people that are really in the comment section, and a lot of people are out there, of course, making inquiries about when will the construction works begin, especially for like I give an example, Hoima Stadium. One gentleman came out and asked when the construction will be starting. I'm here to answer all those questions as we go forward. Of course, beginning with that, construction for the Hoima Stadium is supposed to be beginning in the next 3 weeks. It was last week when they said 3 weeks from now they're going to be beginning on the groundbreaking and all the other activities that are supposed to be happening in the area where the construction is going to be. So we should be very patient. Like I told you last week, they handed over the site to the contractors, not basically the contractors, but of course to government, because government is dealing with the contractors directly through the Ministry of Sport, Ministry of State for Sports, that is Mr. Peter Gwang. His office is working on everything that is supposed to be done in looking forward to constructing that stadium. So the stadium and all the land titles were given all the way to the government of Uganda. Over 34 acres of land were given to the government of Uganda to construct the stadiums. But that does not, of course, give confidence to a lot of our viewers out there. For example, a gentleman, user RX7ED, something like that. It's a long name. He came out and put a comment. The comment is saying, Ugandan think by 2027 for Afcon, you are just being delusive, because it has not happened anywhere in Africa where a stadium has been built in a year. Besides, there is no way an international airport is going to be built in Lira. That is according to him, within a year, where a second year Max Stadium is supposed to be built. And lastly, Nachuvo can never be approved to host African Cup of Nations because it lacks some major CAF requirements. The only role Nachuvo will play in Afcon, if Uganda, God willing, is not withdrawn out of his training, is a training ground. We Ugandans should become more realistic. That is the gentleman coming out and airing his view and his worry about us hosting, and he is 100% sure that Uganda will be thrown away. I don't think Uganda will be thrown away. This is something that you have as a fear, and I don't think your fear is a reality. It is just because of the slow progress that has been taking place, and you're right to come out and iron out a few things, like the construction of a Lira Stadium, an airport in Lira out there. Like I told you, the stadiums that are required by CAF standards are supposed to be 6 stadiums for any nation to host this interesting tournament. And what happens is this, that you're required to have, at least, for example, if you're hosting it like 3 countries, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, we are required to have 6 stadiums that are all standard and 100% finish. And then what Uganda and Kenya, as well as Tanzania, did in their bid, they showed that they are going to be constructing 3 stadiums each in order to give a leeway for CAF at least to have other 3 stadiums that are standby stadiums in case the other 2 do not meet the requirements that are required by CAF. So that means Uganda can host the games with having 2 stadiums that are completed, which includes, for example, you already know that the Akibwa Stadium is going to be constructed by Samco, a company that I think has the credibility. If you look at their profile and you see what they've done, and I told you I would be looking at a few things that they've done, and I will not just come out and just be on their side because the big company, they are from Egypt, but I've tried looking at their profile and what they've done. First of all, they are not just a small company, they are a multinational company, and they have other three sister companies that work hands in hands with them. There is Samco Bearings and Joints for rubber and elastrometric bearings and all that stuff that works on, of course, in bearings in their constructions. Then they have Better Trading and Technical. This helps in supply of pre-stressed wax and expansion joints, and that is supposed to be working with all you know, when you're constructing a stadium, then you need to have pre-stressed wax, which includes the concrete, which includes those bars that are tied together, a lot of things. So this company works specifically on that. Then they have another company that is called Geotech. This works with soil reinforcement and ground stabilization. And we all know that for you to construct in a stadium, you need ground stabilization and reinforcement of the soil for it to house a little bit of the load that is coming its way, especially for a stadium like that. So this Samco company alone has constructed a lot of their projects in record time. I'll give you an example. There is the ancient bridge. That is one of their fastest projects that they've constructed, and it was constructed in a period of just 4 months. And when you look at the work and you look at the bridge and you look at the load that it carries, it is one of the biggest and one of the fastest that they've done in Egypt. And then there's also the Bas El Akkad bridge. That was one of course, the other projects that was constructed in only 53 days. And when you look at its magnitude and you look at what they had to do on the ground and all the other stuff, it was a record time as well. One of the most impressive projects that they've done. So the other side of Qatar Sports that constructed the Suez Canal project, it was supposed to be a year. It was supposed to be constructed within a year, but we all know that COVID came in because it was supposed to be 2029, 2020, but COVID came in and it wasn't 100% completed in time. It was completed in 2022, but looking at the progress and what they had done, it looked like it would be meeting the deadline. So the two companies that were given that stadium, the Kibwa Stadium, look like they have the credibility, and it's a joint venture. Like I told you, everyone has a specialty of what they're going to be doing. And remember, like I told you, these stadiums are going to be constructed day and night. It's going to be a tiresome process, but it's going to be a non-stop. So we believe that with a few months to go, whether 12 months or what, I know the work will be done, because these companies have I should call it speciality in all the fields that we've talked about, which are very key, especially to construction of any big structure, especially a stadium. On the other side, the Sumco company, the Suma company that is coming in from Turkey, that we expect to be the company constructing the Hoima Stadium. We all know what they've done, especially in the countries they've constructed stadiums, including Senegal, including Rwanda here, the Maholo Stadium, just 6 months, and the upgrade of the Maholo Stadium really was not just an upgrade. It was more like reconstructing another stadium, because they had to put more pillars. You remember, it was a one level kind of stadium, but they managed to include now 2 levels, which included adding more foundation poles, which was even more than twice or thrice the number of poles that they had really on the initial. They did not completely demolish the whole structure, but they reinforced it and created a stronger foundation to uplift the stadium in one wonder. It was more of a reconstruction of a new stadium, and they did it in only 6 months. And was it 6 or 7 months? 6 months. So they know what it means to have the pressure. And like I told you, with the Akibwa Stadium is going to be pre-financing. The only thing that can stop us will be the finances. But remember, it's a pre-financing for Akibwa Stadium. That means that the contractor will be putting in his money and then reclaiming it from government. So I don't necessarily think that that will stop us. And then on the other side, Samco, already 100 billion have been put aside and they've been availed to the constructor because it's expected to be over 150 billion that are supposed to be given out, over 300 billion. So we expect it also to be in time. So I do not think that this comment of Uganda being eliminated and being replaced or being dropped in this would happen in any way, because when you compare it to our neighbors here, you will see that our neighbors too are just beginning their constructions of all the stadiums that they decided to really construct and upgrade. So I even saw one of the stadiums in there being the Bukungu Stadium, of course, one of them being slow paced, and at one moment they even inspected it without the contractors being present, abandoning the site in there. So we've had issues also in our neighboring countries. It's not a Ugandan thing; it's an African thing where, of course, we have people that do their work, but especially local contractors sometimes a little bit more disappointing. But all in all, I entirely think that that comment from this gentleman, I don't really think that Uganda will be dropping out, which is not going to be the case. I think we shall meet the deadline the way it's supposed to be. Then there's another gentleman called Changed Man. He came out and saying Uganda is joking. I swear this is a school field. Can't see an African stadium by 2027. And he was talking about, I think, Bomber Grounds. In the video that I showed you about Hoima, that is Bomber Ground. That is supposed to be upgraded into a modern training facility. But if you look closely in that video that I showed you, you will see from a distance, I showed you something to do with the Hoima site. The reason why I wanted to show you the Bomber Grounds as well as the Hoima site, for you to have a clear idea of where the stadium is going to be located in comparison to the city center, because Bomber Ground is in the middle of the city. So I don't know whether you really understood the video. Bomber Grounds is not going to be the final stadium. That is just going to be upgraded into a training facility. It can house over 3 training pitches in a standard way, with the way the size of the pitch that you saw in there. You can just fit 3 standard training pitches in there, and it can be upgraded into something interesting. And usually the parking system is usually underground for modern stadiums, so it can house a lot of things in there when you look at the way things are done elsewhere. Then there's a gentleman called Ibraware, but some people in Uganda don't give them chances to have such contracts, yet they are well experienced and do the best, and most of the contracts are given to foreigners. I think he was talking about the UPDF. I was giving an update in one of the videos talking about how UPDF really have done their job and are willing really to do even more, especially in the Chambogo training ground. I really think we need them to up their capacity, and they cannot get the experience if you don't give them the job. So I think Mr. Ibra is 100% right. We need to start having confidence in the local entrepreneurs. You see what they've done with Nambole Stadium as well as Nachivo, because Nachivo is a local contractor that has constructed that stadium, though he's a private contractor, not part of government like UPDF. But we need to give these people capacity and the belief as well as the confidence that they can do the job, and that is the only way we can really up our game. Because I'll give you an example. The Samco construction company that is going to be constructing alongside the Qatar Sports, the Akibwa Stadium, is a national constructing company in Egypt. So it is a national construction. That means that government is involved in a few things that it does. So with that kind of reinforcement, with the kind of support that they have, they can even get contracts out of the country. So we need UPDF to be employed in other countries, not only to keep peace, but to do construction as well as structural work that is really professional for them to earn money in there. I have another gentleman who is called Mahadi Serei Lubega Balumaze. I want to see Sikbik and Lumara perform in Nambole. Anyways, it is a milestone. However, at our level, having a modernized stadium is not something we can rejoice because it's a must for us according to our level. We passed the levels of renting homes. We thank government for the great contributions towards our economy. And he came out, and of course he was talking about the Nambole Stadium and us coming out and getting happy about its construction. I believe in what he says. This is the level we should be. I was very happy to see Nachubo Stadium being opened up and seeing things happening, and with the modern infrastructure here, the modern ticketing system and all that stuff, it is something we should be getting used to on every stadium, because that is the way to, even if it's a Premier League game, we need to have access to the stadium in a modern and professional way. Every match day in a Premier League is just like a World Cup game. You know, the things they do on a match day experience are things that are done like on a final. They do things professional on a daily basis. If we get used to that, then we can learn to up our game. Our game can become a little bit more economic and financial as well. It can draw a lot of profits because it is now more professionalized. It is now more it has a lot that comes to it. We'll have professional people being employed. We'll have technical people understanding the game, because I'll give you an example. These stadiums all have they have departments. I'll give you an example. There's a security department that works on the security of the pitch. The stewards, we have people that are working in the camera control centers. Then we have now broadcast centers. For example, in Ambol already the LED screen is already there. So you have people that are in the control room that are feeding that screen with a lot of information in there. We have media boxes now already. Already people will be doing interviews and press conferences much after game press conference and before the game press conferences. We have standard pitchmen that are working on the pitch to see every after game what is happening. We have people that are working on different sectors in the VIP lounges to serve the VIP with whatever needs they have. So there's a lot that is happening that we really want to see in the game. And before you know, on a match day, you have over 200 people that have been employed on just one match day. And imagine it's a Premier League game, and you have over 6 stadiums that are up the standards, and the turn up is also turning out to be good in this game. So there's something that is changing about us that we need to really normalize, and it needs to be the usual routine, especially if you want to have our game go to that level. So that is where I see ourselves go to, and I think with the comment that is coming in from Mr. Luega, I think to me that is the way to go. We believe that this should be something that we should do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and with the games that are coming, especially for the Cranes as well as the other clubs, in the preseason and all the other things, we need to test these match days. We need to have professional match day experiences. They need to have performances. We need to have everything that really makes these games interesting and pulls the crowds. We need to at least we need to put it all together. We need to embrace it to have something better when it comes to our match day experiences in there. Thank you so much for being part of this interesting show. My name is Brian. Stay safe, enjoy your day, and catch you next time.